Near-mint condition, the home of collected editions. Oh my gosh, look at that panel of Batman. You have the absolute, you have the deluxe. DC Comics firing on all cylinders.
The man often yells "wheat, wheat" to as many birds as he can hear in the horizon, but nonetheless, we got it here for the first time in DC Finest format. This is Hawkman, Wings Across Time, featuring Shiera and Carter in full restored glory on near-mint condition. What's up, everybody? My name is Domovex. I'm here today to talk about the DC Finest Hawkman Wings Across Time DC Finest trade paperback. Oh my goodness, we got some stuff here to speak of. This is a look at the front cover, featuring a cover from Brave and the Bold, issue number 35 by none other than Master Legendary Joe Kubert. Of course, the first in a very long line of, well, his family and his dynasty running over on the art. This is again a look at the front, again featuring issue 35 with Gardner Fox, Joe Kubert, Murphy Anderson. They're listed on the bottom. And honestly, this is the first time that I think I've ever had in a while where I actually haven't had a problem with any of the names listed down here below. This is a look at the upright part of the spine with DC Finest Wings Across Time there on the sideline. Hawkman in full bold, DC Bullet logo 1961 to 66 with a pinup of Hawkman right there on the bottom, drawn by Murphy Anderson. If you guys wanted a side point view, this is what it does look like when you do stack up other books against it on its side. And on the backhand side, in the same, presenting DC Finest stories, high-flying adventures await after a decade-long hiatus of the 1940s. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment, featuring select covers from Hawkman and also the Brave and the Bold. Go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go ahead and take a peek inside, or a full shot inside, at the DC Finest Hawkman Wings Across Time trade paperback with Joe Kubert again on the, not only the cover, but also him drawing Hawkman punching through the Shadow Thief. Who might that be? You'll just have to find out and see. On the left-hand side, you'll have all of your basics, the editorial information, copyrighted material information, and previous editorial information, and information. Also at the Salisco printers in Canada, as all of these are printed there. On the right-hand side, we do have the table of contents. And typically, at least for Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they won't list the creative teams, but on these, they usually do. On this case, though, they do have a note in the top right saying all these stories are indeed written by Gardner Fox or are illustrated by Murphy Anderson and lettered by Gaspar Saladino, who we saw in a couple of other DC Finest Silver Age titles. And all covers here are going to be illustrated by Murphy Anderson unless otherwise illustrated. And there you can see all of these do follow in the order of the Brave and the Bold. Then we go to the Atom, issue number 7, a couple of Mystery in Space issues. Then we go back to the Brave and the Bold. And Hawkman decided, hey, let's start our own series up because fan interest is there. And the same warning here on the left-hand side as, yes, these were different. These were published in different times, so you will get different results to be expected in all of these as well. Before I talk about the inside material, I just want to let you know that this is a 560 pager. Again, at the $39.99 USD price point. Hopefully that sticks for as long as possible. Again, so 560, $39.99. This is going to collect the Brave and the Bold. Used to saying Batman, the Brave and the Bold. No Batman, but indeed the Brave and the Bold issues 34 to 36, 42 to 44, and issue number 51. Mystery in Space issues 87 through 90, The Atom issue number 7, and Hawkman issues 1 through 11. DC has also previously printed all of this material in one way or another in their showcases. So we've had a Showcase Presents Hawkman Volume 1. We've also had this included in the Hawkman Archives Volumes 1 through 2. So those Brave and the Bold issues that I did mention were printed in those archives, and The Atom was also printed as well in those slotted archives. So you have all of this previously collected in one shape or another, but we've never had it as vibrant and as beautiful as the restoration is right here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Silver Age Hawkman and why you should think about picking this up. So from the onset, I did find out that Hawkman did not appear in some comics right after he decidedly disappeared through the pages of All-Star Comics back in the 40s. And he did not come back until 1961 when DC published The Brave and the Bold issue number 34. And it honestly made perfect sense considering that Brave and the Bold featured team-up stories. And although Batman did not appear specifically in that one, I thought he would. But it was enough for DC to say, well, hey, or national publications who say, hey, Julius, hey, Gardner, you want to revitalize a character that you guys brought up back in the 1940s? Well, here is your chance. So Hawkman and Hawkgirl were put right back into the spotlight in the pages of the Brave and the Bold issue number 34. And in that set issue, and the two issues that followed after, issues 35 through 36, we're learning a little bit about Hawkman and Hawkgirl and the differences between their two characters and also the similarities of those two as we tread new waters in a Cold War era for comics. We're learning about Hawkman and Hawkgirl adopting earthly names in issue number 34 of The Brave and the Bold, of course, that being Carter Hall and Shiera. I think what most people are attuned to when they think of those characters. I know that some people are more familiar with Kendra, but I also do know the Shiera faction as well. Because of the pages after Blackest Night. We also find out that this is going to be stationed, or a lot of these stories are going to be stationed in Midway City, Michigan, which you might have heard or recognized that same city's name from the pages of Grant Morrison and J.G. Jones's Final Crisis. And I won't spoil what happens in those pages of Final Crisis, but I will say that there is decidedly a setting that we are going to stay in that specific city for a good amount of this book. Not all, but a good amount of this book. We also learned that Hawkman and Hawkgirl, Carter and Shiera, are both police detectives from Thanagar who are sent to Earth to capture this mysterious person named Bithroth, who we learn is indeed a Thanagarian shapeshifter in the first pages of The Brave and the Bold issue number 34, and they have to customize themselves because some of the protocols on Thanagar are very much different from Earth. You actually have some of these issues where Carter's asking, hey, can we do this thing that Earth people do? And sometimes he'll go to Earth and say, can we do this thing that Thanagar allows us to do? So there's a lot of flip-flop and back and forth and how they are allowed to do their work in the meanstead of laying out the law and laying out justice. And that is a very, very big theme in all of these stories. These two are detectives, and they're going to do a lot of detective work. And a lot of that detective work, yes, does involve a lot of exposition, in the same case that plenty of these Silver Age stories often do so. So do be prepared when they are investigating a matter to try to find a way to stop their enemy. Sometimes it is through investigative work, and that investigative work does take us through a lot of pages of dialogue and a lot of pages of explaining what exactly it is they're trying to find, whether it might be a laser beam, whether it's radiation, or maybe it's a foe that he happens to be invisible and they can't stop it. They have to go through all of that, and those protocols are often the basis for plenty of these Hawkman and Hawkgirl stories. And actually, one thing that I actually find really nice is just to have Hawkman being in a back and forth between him and his wife Shiera. It's a nice, comforting thing to see two people not only in a healthy relationship, but also learning to work together through, because you get to see how they work together. And specifically what sets them apart from, say, other characters that we have is this really is a Hawkman and Hawkgirl book. I wouldn't even just call it a Hawkman DC Finest. Hawkgirl, I think, should get as much of a big labeling as much as Carter does here in this book. So again, a very nice touch from DC. But not only that, we get to see a little bit more of the nth metal that most people might be familiar from, that we are introduced to in the All-Star Comics DC Finest, or the Justice Society of America first DC Finest that we have, considering that, yes, Gardner Fox does try to bridge both the Golden Age and Silver Age gap here. So that is a nice touch to see as well. We also get to see these two work in secret at the Midway City Museum, because as often as heroes do, they need to have secret identities. And those secret identities, like I mentioned earlier, being Carter Hall and Miss Carter Hall, they have to follow that out in some way. And they do get a lot of work here at the Midway Museum. We also get introduced to a rotating set of villains, and also a set group cast that we are going to be staying with for the majority of this DC Finest. Mainly in the name of Mavis Trent, who is a museum anthropologist and just happens to have this massive crush on Carter Hall. And we also get introduced to a couple of other characters too, such as Andar Poole, who is the police chief on the Thanagarian detective force. So we get introduced to those two, and those two are going to be the mainstays for your book. In fact, Mavis Trent's little infatuation with Carter does become quite a focus as the series and this DC Finest moves along. I also find it really cute so that there are certain quirks that Carter has that's specific to this age. Like, for example, you see him here saying "wheat, wheat." I really find it cute that Carter has a way to communicate with aviation, with avian species, so to speak. It's also interesting too to see just what types of villains that Carter also faces. I mentioned earlier that Bith Roth is there, but Bith Roth is really there to set up Carter's character here in the Silver Age and also give us a much-needed backstory if you aren't familiar with him, and also get to see just a little bit of how important the Thanagarian story really is to Carter and his character. I do believe that it does flesh plenty of that out. But as I was saying, we do have a lot of breaks in between some of those Brave and the Bold issues and also some of these Mystery in Space issues. And the reason to why that is because as we find out in issue number 36, as they laid it out here in the DC Finest, Hawkman might not have had a continuing series had it not been for the support of the fan base at the time. There is a reason to why he did have a small hiatus in between his appearance in Brave and the Bold number 34 and his material from the Golden Age. But it was enough for DC to bring them back into the fold with issue number 42. And those three issues really do, issues 42 to 44, set up the ground for what would be the mainstays of the DC Universe. We also finally get a chance to learn a little bit more about the Hawks and the world of Thanagar in the specific Silver Age, because, yes, we're also learning about his unique relationships with some of the foes that he had faced on in those first three issues. My personal favorite issue, if I had to pick here, is an issue of Brave and the Bold, issue number 43, which is called The Masked Marauders of Earth. It's a group called the Manhawks that decide to attack Earth and started to pillage and steal artifacts, treasures from different museums, and different trinkets from the planet Earth. So in peril, we have this police commissioner, George Emmett, who is another one of these mainstays for the supporting cast of this book, who telegrams Hawkman and Hawkgirl to go and help, even though they're still stationed in Thanagar. Obviously, you have to go back to your home world, and I really like the in-universe explanations for fans of deciding to bring them back into the fold with the future Brave and the Bold issues. You also have interesting terminologies that were recently coined by scientists at the time. For example, laser technology. I don't know if it was a Julius Schwartz thing or if it's a Gardner Fox thing, but them deciding to integrate actual scientific terms or scientific inventions that were created at the time into the lore of National Publication Comics, I actually do find that to be really, really, really awesome. You will have these editor notes where they explain, hey, this is what this word means, this is what that word means. And a lot of these scientific terms are actually not bad ways to sort of, again, have them into the fold of Hawkman's true world. But you also have interesting developments in issue number 43, where we not only learn about the Masked Marauders, but we also learn about Hawkman and Hawkgirl's relationships, how they met, and a lot of the customs that just so happen to be coincidentally very much the same or very similar between both Earth and Thanagar. Like, for example, we learn in this specific DC Finest, or I learned in the specific DC Finest, that Hawkgirl wears earrings because they don't, on Thanagar, to symbolize marriage, they wear earrings instead of rings. At least the women do, when they are trying to show other people that I'm taken. And I find that very cute. The same thing goes too for some of their words and some of their special holidays. So, for example, in America anyways, we celebrate Independence Day on July the 4th. On Thanagar, they celebrate a day called Impossible Day. And I find that really, really interesting. There also are in-page canonical explanations as to why they make sense in the in-betweens. I actually find the explanations not only really cute, but they also make sense within the wider scope of the story. And the same goes too for a lot of the foes that Hawkman faces. The Shadow Thief is going to be a very, very big and recurring character. How can you stop a person if there isn't mass to tackle them with? Now, you and I, if we both know that, say you're Batman and the Joker is there, easy, right? Go beat him up. How can you beat a guy up if all you can see is a shadow? There are very, very, like I said earlier, with the scientific explanations and integrating words like laser into the fold of DC Comics or National Public's comics, you can get to see specifically how Gardner Fox tackles fake scientific terms with scientific explanations on how Hawkman decides to stop these folks. The same goes for some of the characters that also pop up in here, like the Atom. For example, Atom does show up as Atom number 7, is in the pages of this DC Finest, and in that specific Atom story, we get to see these two not only tackle a scientific problem, but you also get to see them blossoming, Ray Palmer specifically, and Carter Hall blossoming and turning into friends. And the same goes, as you can see through, they do end up being long-term runs, and this really is an ongoing, and I really do appreciate that they didn't stop the ball in terms of creating, like Hawkman number 1 continues the trend that DC was facing with Hawkman, and really energizing and bringing something else into the lore. And we also do get to see other characters thrown in. For example, Mystery in Space issues 89 through 90 also have Hawkman teaming up with Adam Strange. And as you may know, Adam Strange is from the planet Rand, so there are going to be instances where those two characters not only just learn to become close, but I also do find it interesting because one of my first experiences with the planet Ran was in the Ran Thanagar Infinite Crisis crossover miniseries. So we're a long way from that, but it's really, really cool to see the first blossoming relationship between Adam Strange and Hawkman, respectively. And I can't stop this review without talking a little bit about Zatanna's first appearance, too, because this is where Zatanna does pop up. And in issue number 4 of Hawkman, which is where she makes her first appearance ever in any published comic, we do get to see that Hawkman was given while working at the museum, was given a Shang Dynasty statue along with an ancient Celtic cup. Unfortunately, these were very suspiciously given, and so he and Hawkgirl have to go to the ends of the earth to go find the people who supposedly donated these. I will just say that in cracks and crevices, they do find maybe a small answer as to, well, okay, there's a reason to why this cup works. There's a reason to, or, well, I should say that Hawkgirl goes to Scotland to figure out, well, what's the reasoning behind this Celtic cup given to the museum. And in the Mongolian outskirts, or I should say the Honan province in China, they were attacked, or he was attacked by Mongolian bandits. And at the end of the tunnel is not necessarily who might have given it, but they do find out about this girl who's wearing a magician's hat and fishnets. And, well, there are two of them. So whatever will happen, you will have to read and find out. But overall, in this DC Finest, you are going to, even if you aren't infatuated with the story, even if I think that there are some parts that Gardner Fox could have done better, the one thing about this book is just the absolute tremendous art of non-stop peak, is as my generation likes to call it. The brilliance in the art in this book is absolutely magnificent. So early on, we have Joe Kubert, again, who is the front line in this artist room, if you may. But the other artists who are on this book, Murphy Anderson, Carmine Infantino, and Gil Kane. So you are never, ever going to get a page where it doesn't look as great or it doesn't pop out as great. It really is the essence of the Silver Age and why DC's artists at this time were just so amazing at flat out just giving us great storytelling pages, even if it's mired, again, in stories that I think might have been better. Maybe there could have been some more soap opera elements, but you cannot deny that the people drawing these were placing their heart out as much as possible. And I think for that reason, this, even if you aren't the biggest fan of Hawkman, but if you are a fan of the Silver Age look and the Silver Age feel, I can't recommend this book enough for those who might be willing to look out and also get to see just how this was all set up right before it all came crashing ahead. As Hawkman continued further, of course, the line, I will just say, became a lot more confusing with his backstory and whatnot. You've seen the Hawkman is confusing TV tropes page, I'm sure. But that, as they say, is that. Now, if you're looking to get DC Finest Hawkman Wings Across Time, please check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code Near Mint Condition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
Now that is going to be it for me. I am Dom of X. Please let me know down in the comments section if you're planning on getting DC Finest Hawkman. If you've read any Hawkman and you want to check this out, let me know down below in the comments section. That's it for me. I am Dom. Please stay safe, Minties, and have a great one wherever you are.